So here's my 5-frame nook setup. I guess from those dead outs there's the non-sick colonies, just the ones that was small. What I did is I grabbed 2 of the sugar syrup honey frames. Hardly any bees. It's still liquid, hasn't crystallized like some of the other ones. So what I'll do is to give them some fresh, and then if they have any brood or any bees, I'll just put them in the middle here. If the cluster is really small, then what I'll do is I'll add a wooden follow board on either side to crunch them in. But I guess we'll see what it looks like, and then we'll go from there. So I've just cracked the lid open. I just took the insulation off and cracked the seal. You'll notice that they're still alive, but they're mostly against this right-hand side colony. There's a little cluster there, so way too small. The rest of the frames are empty. So this is the one with that amoeba disease. So you can see the feces. There's not too much, but there's some on top of the frames. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna quarantine all these frames into basically in my shed so bees can't get access to them, and then I'll do some microscopy on some of the poop there and check things out. So what I'm gonna do, so it actually looks like about 3 frames. So I've got the nook right next to it here. What I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna put the wooden follow boards in there, and I'll probably take those 3 frames on the side and stick them right in the middle. So the goal is not to overdo it. And then afterwards I'll disinfect my tools and I'll go from there, because while I do that, I'll see if the queen's still alive. I'll put that pollen padding on top of the brood nest, and that's all you can do on a really sick hive. There's no point spending too much time on it. But I want to figure out what's going on here, so that's why I'm going to do a bit more digging into this one. And for science, some of these bees, they're still alive. I've got 2 labs to send bees to, so I want to send some DNA preserved bee samples to the lab in Beaver Lodge, and then down in Vancouver. So I'll just set up, and then I'll bring the camera back on. Here's one follow board, and the other, they've been treated. Okay, I'm gonna check some frames out first, and then I'll get into the bee frames later. Empty. See, the colony's been reduced for a long while, so this looks really ugly. So this is stuff that I don't want the bees to get to, so like I said, all this stuff's getting quarantined. Another heavy honey frame. So it's no lack of honey, big heavy frame. As I go through, I see another one, so they've got plenty of stores. Here's a bee with the tongue out. Another really nice honey frame, but I can't trust them. Okay. Another honey frame. So all this will probably get reduced down to wax. Again, lots of honey left. and the bees seem to only be in the top box. Hence the reason they can't exit. They're bound in the top box, and they're probably running out of honey because now they're stuck to the side and they can't move around. Plenty of honey in here, but you can see this side's pretty dry, little patch, and I have a feeling the few next frames will be pretty low on honey. So if we just have a quick look, you can see down there, there's nothing. So I'll go through those frames after I do this, after I get them set up in their little box. But that bottom box down there is probably frozen and chilled. So the bees, there's too much volume for a little cluster like this to keep warm. Hence the reason I'm gonna drop them down to 3 frames with 2 fresh honey frames. I've had them out in the sun there, so they've warmed up a bit, but that's the only thing you can do. Should have brought another box to use as a funnel, and I'll probably go get one. Okay, so I'm just gonna move them over. Many bees. The hope is low. And yeah, they're starving. They don't have access to any food, so basically the only thing I can do for them is move them in a smaller box. I'll put some food above them, and hopefully there's honey left in that side frame there. Yeah, they're borderline starving. A bit of not much on anything. Just checking for the queen. So this way they'll get 2 honey frames right next to the cluster. So let's see. So you can see how it doesn't, can't see the queen. She might be on the side of the box there, but it's not looking hopeful for this colony. Seems to be a little ball of bees here, so the queen might be in there. As the other thing I did is I super insulated the top just to give them the maximum chance of keeping that warm nest. So I put an extra 2 inches styrofoam in the lid here, and that's all we can do. I'll put them a pollen patty on the edge there, and let's do that. Give them some food. Around the cluster so they can access it, at least get, this is mostly sugar pollen patty, so it will give them a boost of sugar energy. Oops. And the girls just need to eat, and let's see what happens. Hold this up to protect, not to stress them out too much, get them used to their new home. So now comes the gross part. So this is a pseudo dead out. So bottom box is pretty much empty. There's a few bees here and there. They might be just visitors. You can see the outside edge here, lots of mold. And I'll have a look in there, but basically it's just, all you can do is clean it up and figure things out. So this is one reason I like running singles. Less volume and less risk of this happening, but I do need some doubles. The other thing you'll notice is this area here. So the cluster was right above it. And you see the poop in the frames in the bottom here. So the bees can't get out. So they were stuck. So then that's when they start pooping inside. And yeah, and likely the queen got infected and she's dead, but I'll like I said, I'll put a mini sugar syrup baggie on there and just see if we can keep the bees alive so we can do some samples on them. I've got a few samples of the stragglers, test those out, live ones. And I've got a couple other vials here. And what I'll do is some of the last bees to die on top of those frames. So that should be good. And now I've got, I don't know, 15, 20 bees there I can test for Nosema and that Amoeba disease. Okay. That's it. And I have to come back with warm water and cotton swabs to collect this poop water. And then I can analyze that material